Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today we're going to work on a reel that you can win. This one is going to get serviced. It's a flea market find, and then we're going to do a drawing for all of the folks that would like to enter the drawing. Stay tuned. You'll get the information at the end of the video. We're going to take this apart, make sure it's all working fine, do a little bit of a tune-up on it, show you how it's made, and well, how you can win it. This is a Shakespeare Pro Touch PT30. It's a rear drag fishing reel that enables you to control the drag without working your way over the top of the line. Generally designed for freshwater fishing. This one does feature the fast cast mechanism where instead of touching the line you simply pull back. And if you don't like it that way, well, you can just traditionally flip the bail and bring it back for the casting. Alright, we're going to take this reel apart. As I said, we're going to check it out and service it so that you have worry-free fishing with it when you win, and well, make it a contest participant. Give it a second chance. I like to remove these caps even though they're not spinning. I like to make sure that there's not a screw underneath. Well, we're going to start by removing the exterior pieces and parts. To do that, we'll start with this spool. You push the button on the center of the spool to release that. This reel's nice and clean. I found it at a flea market, and I bought it with a batch of reels, and quite honestly, best way for me to make sure it has a second chance is, well, give it away. So let's do just that. As I take off the exterior pieces and parts, this one being the handle now, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and if you like these types of videos, use that notification button. That notification button is going to let you know when I'm posting videos, and you can make a decision as to whether that's a video you would like to watch. I work on all kinds of fishing reels. Today it's a rear drag, basically a freshwater reel designed for lakes and rivers and the like. It'd be a nice bassing reel. Tomorrow I might be working on a very big trolling reel, or perhaps a bait caster. You're kind of looking over my shoulder at reels that come into my shop for service. I try to show you how to do it so that you can do it yourself and that you can keep these reels fishing for a long time to come. I did remove the cup for the rear drag assembly. Now I'm removing the side plate screws. These are Phillips head screws. And we'll take the 4 of those out. When I take these out, I like to lay these on the table to make sure that they're all the same size. One of the issues that I have with reels like this reel was probably sold in a combination. It's hard to find information on it like a schematic, so it was probably sold as a rod and reel combination, which is fine. The issue I have is I can't get the information on it, the schematic, so I'm kind of doing this a little bit off the cuff, if you will. And the other issue I have is some of these screws, like these, are steel. They're not stainless steel. So what happens with these is if they're prolonged exposure to salt water and the like, well, they can rust. If they rust, you may not be able to get them out and service the reel. When I take my pieces and parts off, I put them into a parts tray. I use a fast food container. I recommend that whatever your approach is to removing parts, don't make it haphazard, but rather have a plan for what you're going to do with those parts when you remove them. Right now we're trying to see if we can get the cover off. We can, but I think that for the most part we want to remove that. Actually, it's hard to remove that because of the way this reel is set up. Well, you can see it's a pretty straightforward drive. Inside it's very nice and clean. And this reel, quite honestly, shouldn't break. There's just a few things going on in here. We have a main gear. We have a crosswind gear, crosswind block, retention screw, pinion gear, drag system, uncomplicated, bushing, not bearing. So it should result in well, a simple reel doesn't have a lot of things that can fail on it, right? We're going to remove the screw that is holding the crosswind block and axle together. That goes into my parts tray. There should be a little gate, kind of a C-clip here now. We will remove that next. Note that the clamp has a U shape. The U shape will hug the side of this crosswind block. And with that clip removed, we can remove the axle shaft. Then we can remove the crosswind block. And now we can remove the main gear and the crosswind gear. If there's a downside to this, is these reels are not made with the most expensive materials, so you're not finding stainless steel gearing or ball bearings or things like that. And well, I call these types of metals pot metal. I know people call them various different things. But again, think about the fish that this reel is intended to catch, and you really don't need the highest level of that type of equipment or mechanical design. Bushings, pot metal, this reel will last a long time. Alright, just want to clean the inner part of the case. Just wiping it down with some cotton swabs. There's not a lot of grease left in here. We're going to take the top off now. Looks like we have 2 retaining screws. I'm going to take my pieces and put those into my parts tray before I continue. You know, it's real easy to leave the pieces and parts on your desk, and the next thing you know, you reach for something and knock a part somewhere, and it becomes hard to find. So save yourself the worry and the trouble. Just simply go ahead and get that piece done. Now this one, looks like it's serving both as the tie down for your counterweight and the tie down for your rotor nut. There are 2 different screws. Pay attention to that. The flathead bevel one goes in here. That's going to come off now. And then I think this is probably going to be a 10mm nut. We'll find out. And this has enough of a wall that you may need to get a deep socket to go in there to get that. I keep these close at hand. I use them a lot. Kind of recommend that you do the same. I'm going to see which way this is going to turn. It is going to come off in a traditional counterclockwise manner, but don't be fooled. If you try that and you find out that the nut's not moving, don't be fooled by that. Realize that a lot of these could be counter threaded, so they would come off in a clockwise manner. Okay, those 3 pieces will go in here. Get the pieces off. The rotor can come off, and this is your design for the internal piece. You have a a collar here. Notice how the cam on this one is kind of odd, right? It's not circular, and it only has 1 stop. That's the stop for the anti-reverse. It's always going to allow you to have that quick fire on this side. You're going to notice that you have 2 forks in the springs, and that they go on one on each side there. Next up, we want to remove the collar that's holding our pinion gear in place. There's a screw that tried to get away on me. And that'll bring off the pinion gear assembly. So notice how this came up. Underneath that we have a bearing and a shim washer, and we have our pinion gear. I did that just to make sure that we cleaned any older greases and the like from the channel here, which we did. And well, clean off your pinion gear. Not much going on in there. Check the grooves if you like. Bring a brush in, a hard bristle brush. You could use a toothbrush if you like. And check them all. Now this one was running nice and smooth, which is one of the reasons why I decided to give this away. So I don't expect to see any issues with the teeth here. And hopefully this will provide years of fishing service and enjoyment through the winter. Stay tuned for the details. All right, bearing goes on. I already put a splash of oil onto that bearing. Bearing shim goes on. We can reinsert the gearing into the cavity here. Bring down the bearing. And this had the little indent for our piece here, so bring that under. And then line those two pieces, the holes, up so that you can reinstall. Now, quite honestly, if you find a reel like this and you're not having any issues and you've tested it, you don't necessarily need to remove that pinion gear. But to do it right, you should. You should do what we just did there, the thorough cleaning of it. But if you just wanted to put a drop of oil or two on the bearing, try and clean it from underneath, I guess that would be okay too. All right, here's the two things. Kind of looks like an antenna on a bee or something. Here's that piece that it's going to straddle. So bring this over and get that between the two, just like that. You're looking to get that there. All right. So the next one is actually kind of fun. This is set up, and you got to make sure that this and this match on the arms. You could be 180 degrees off when this stops. So in this case, it's here. I get a question all the time. For whatever reason, it's backwards. It says I'm stopping and this is not releasing to the piece. The answer is simple. Remove this. You probably had it apart. Remove this. Just pick it up, turn it 180 degrees, put it right back down again, and now it'll stop where it's supposed to. All right, let's put the pieces back here. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, if you want to leave those in the comments section, I will try to answer those questions for you. It doesn't have to be about this reel. It can be about anything. Maybe you want to know a little bit more about Shakespeare as a manufacturer. Maybe you want to know where they are these days. That's the wrong socket. Maybe you want to know about price and value and how the reel's used and how to cast it and things like that. Before I go any further, I'm going to spin it, make sure that it works okay. It does, but you know, one of the things I just noticed was there's a little bit of an imbalance, and that's because of this, which is the counterweight that's missing. I'm going to bring the counterweight. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to say that it belongs on this side, the non-bail side. Probably should have taken a picture. And we've got the tie-down clamp here. Let's get that seated. I'm going to go with the counterweight first. So the counterweight is just that. It's a weight that balances that rotor between the weight of the bail being to one side of the reel and the other. That's why I said I'm going to guess it belongs on this side, because the bail on that is not here. Now, this is giving me all kinds of issues here in terms of getting it started. I'll do it again. There's two sides to this counterweight here. Make sure you have the right one. There's one that has a taper in it. There we go. Now we'll get that done. All right, that holds that side down. And we have the one that's kind of got the built-in washer on it. I'm sure there's a technical term for that type of a screw. Put that on this side. And just spin it again. Yeah, it seems to be spinning a lot more even. Let's rebuild the base of the reel. And let's tell you how to go win this reel. So I've been trying to give some reels second chances simply by passing them along to channel viewers that have subscribed. So if you've subscribed and if you'd like to win this reel, just enter a note below in the comment section that says, I am a subscriber and I would like to be entered into the drawing for this fishing reel, or something close to that. And I will poll the winning entry approximately 1 week after this video is posted. Now, I'll do my best to do that. If I miss by a day, don't hold me to it. But we've had some fun giveaways in the past, and well, this is the latest in those giveaways. Okay, before I put the main gear in, I want to put the crosswind block in. This is a place to tell you probably should take pictures. I just alluded to it before. I said that counterweight. Well, you could have put it on the wrong side of the reel. I got lucky enough to notice, or know a little bit about the engineering of these. Here's another one. This one could mount either way, but recognize that when we took this off, there was a clip that was holding that on the left-hand side. So that's where we came up with that from an orientation standpoint. It's very easy to flip that over and you'll have it the wrong way. Okay, there's a flat side on the axle shaft on the base. Put that in next. Bring it through your crosswind block and down. There's 2 grooves on that axle shaft. One is high and one is low. Make sure you can just barely see them on both. Then bring that clip in. And once you seat it properly, you should be able to align it with the hole. And then that little screw that, well, me and little screws don't play well together. I'm going to put a little dab of grease onto here. Hopefully that'll hold the screw and allow me to get it started. And we'll bring that in. And I'm hopeful here that the main gear can go in around that axle shaft. If not, we're going to have to do that again. But in this case, the main gear does go in. A little bit of grease onto the main gear stud. This one has a lip on it. And it's going to have to kind of sneak in here. So you sort of have to come over the top of this and push in and up. Just like that. And when you do that, make sure that you have a nice tight seam all around. So I don't think this reel got much use. Looking underneath, there's no evidence of a lot of dried greases or anything like that. But I did want to give you an inside look into the reel. I did want to make sure that it was mechanically sound before I pass this along. And I did want to make sure that, well, you can get your fishing out of it without worry. So that's why we kind of took this one apart today. And right now we're just going to go ahead and tighten up those 4 screws. When I tighten up the screws, I like to do that in an X pattern. That keeps the tension on the case equal. So go up top for the 3rd and down on the bottom on the other side, completing the X. Every now and then I'm asked about mechanical screwdrivers from folks that are either looking for the convenience of it or don't have the hand strength to do this kind of a thing. If you want to use them, I'm going to say it's all right, but make sure when you do that you do not tighten it all the way down. Leave that last half turn or so to be done manually. Alright, this should just seat back in here. Now if you wanted to service the drag, while we're at it, I didn't. pull this clip here, and you'll be able to remove the carrier underneath it. I'm making a wild assumption here. Those drags probably have never been used. Like this reel is in very good condition as well. All right. Well, we're almost to the point where we're just going to give it a test and tell you how to enter. Well, I think we already told you how to enter, so we'll remind you how to enter. Okay. Spool goes back on. Handle goes back on. Little dot of oil into where this handle pivots. You can also put a little bit onto the threads if you like. Sometimes these tend to stick in the main gear. So let's tighten this down. Give it a spin. Oh my gosh, even smoother than it was when I started. Makes sense. It's got all of the oils and greases in it now. The only thing we didn't oil and grease was this bail assembly here. And you do not need to take the bail assembly off if it's firing. Just oil on the seams, work it through. As I mentioned, if that quick fire is not working or you don't choose to use the quick fire, just flip it as you would a normal reel. That's a nice reel. Somebody's going to win it. Alright, well, we will remind you. If you would like to win this reel, simply enter a comment in the section below that says you're a subscriber and you would like to be entered in the drawing. I will pull all of those entries, and approximately 1 week from now, we'll pull it and we'll see who is the beneficiary of watching this video and the winner of the reel. I want to thank our first responders, our police, our fire, our safety, our EMTs, everybody involved in keeping us well, for everything it is that they do and their career choices. I want to thank everybody for watching the channel and making it what it is. I wish everybody fun on the water and a great day fishing. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Enjoy your day.